It's totally fine. There's some stuff in there that's got value, I guess. I just don't like it.
I don't know if they ever like they were. I don't know if he was,
Some of it's fine, but I think it's a horseshit. So fuck that movie.
I don't know if he was planning it to be a movie trilogy,
Yeah.
but I do appreciate that Nolan's his version of it, of the universe. It was meant to be a story that like had a beginning and a definite end. So it wasn't something where made with sequel hooks, in perpetuity.
Unless Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Oh, your real name's Robin. You should use that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I mean
the only kind of
that's like the
Right.
thread there, but like Batman survives in spirit, spiritually. And like the ultimate thesis was that Batman was bad for Bruce Wayne, but maybe it could work for Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that either. But again, like I'm just saying, like I know a lot of people love those movies. There's just a lot of weird, questionable things for me.
There have been like several stories that focus on the importance or the need for there to always be a Batman.
Yeah.
And so like I'm fine with that story, but I feel like that franchise or that trilogy, whatever, did not like that wasn't the story they were telling until like the end of that third movie.
Right.
If that had been something that they were harping on, if that was like always Bruce's goal, if that was like why he felt secure to run away and not be dead with Catwoman in whatever fucking country they went to,
Paris.
nobody cares. We
The French care, okay?
But if he had felt secure in doing that because he left everything to not Robin, like I'd feel better about that. But they didn't set that up throughout. Like they barely set that up through this movie, let alone like the whole franchise. And like
You know
that,
why, though?
We don't know if they were always.
There was going to be a
planning to do
completely
3
different
or-
sequel to Dark Knight, and then Heath Ledger died, and they completely rewrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee he would have been in it again somehow, some way. If
Well,
we're still here.
Gotham.
Well, yeah, I mean, Scarecrow was in all 3.
Yeah.
Well, Gotham. Yeah, I mean that Cillian Murphy Kangaroo Court scene was definitely had Joker in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which would have been pretty amazing.
that would have been, but
Wasn't in the cards.
yep. Nice.
Yep. All right. Yeah, it's funny. We were going to start at the beginning, and now we're already talking about the Dark Knight trilogy. Why don't we go back?
Yeah.
We don't have to go all the way back to Adam West unless you want to talk about Adam West for a little while.
No, let's talk about the 2 Tim Burton movies.
Yep.
I think we can
Awesome.
skip the Schumacher one since I haven't seen them in forever.
We can gloss.
I mean,
over
if you
that,
want to talk about, but let's start with let's go back to Burton.
I mean, do you like the Tim Burton movies, Eric, or do you just hate them completely?
I do. So I recently went back and rewatched all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker, I don't think I appreciated how well of a job he did on it, but specifically, he had the Joker laugh nailed down. Like,
Yeah. It's just his laugh, but it is the Joker's laugh.
I don't know. Like as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like he could have done any of the animated series voiceovers just on his performance in that alone. So
Yeah.
I when I bring up camp, I specifically point at too much of it being Batman and Robin. But when I say that there's certain things I can like let slide, that's probably the Burton stuff. Like,
Yep.
bring it back.
There's some cheesy stuff in those movies, like Batman Returns when Penguin's like bouncing around his little like, Batmobile, and then the part where Bruce Wayne does like the wicket on like the CD when he's like trying to expose him to the public. There's a little bit of cheesy stuff in there.
Yeah, but Jack Nicholson was pretty brilliant casting for Joker.
Well, yeah, they paid him like $500,000.
Yeah, well,
And then same for Danny DeVito in Batman Returns.
$500,000.
Yeah.
Was that just nobody wanting to like soil their career or whatever with a superhero movie at that time, or
No, it was literally all the producers and Bob Kane saying, we're not going to make this movie if Jack Nicholson won't play the Joker.
Well, I guess it's also like you got to compensate them for a fuck ton of makeup every time they have to be
Yeah.
on camera.
Yeah. And they just considered it like perfect casting. They couldn't cast anybody else, period. They wouldn't make it without him. So he made more money than Michael Keaton did. And then the
Which,
same,
like, he was a bigger name.
he was a bigger star. Yeah.
Because I mean, we were all pretty much born super late. I don't know about you, but
90.
okay, you're younger than us. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're born in '89. Like we were like born like what, a few days after the movie came out.
Pretty much. Actually, no, the movie came out in June.
Oh.
So right before the movie came
all
out.
right.
I saw it in
But-
theaters.
Yeah. Michael Keaton was known as, he's known as a comedian before then,
Yeah.
So when he got cast, there were like BBS forums, like the early internet,
Oh, yeah.
like decrying, like, you cast Mr. Mom as Batman.
People did that with Heath Ledger as the Joker, too. And guess what? They loved him.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. History just repeats itself.
Pattinson as
And Pattinson
Yeah.
as Batman. That's right.
Which that backlash didn't last very long,
Yeah.
thankfully.
I have seen it carry through.
Really?
The movie.
I've seen it carry through a little bit, actually, too, now that you say that. But
Hmm.
I think those are more people who just weren't going to give it a chance no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Pattinson, a lot of people recognized that. Well, he's done a lot of good movies since,
Yeah.
and they recognize that he basically just used Twilight as the paycheck.
Yeah.
Him shitting on the movies, and Stephanie Meyer like kind of gave him like,
Yep.
legitimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and like Elijah Wood there and Daniel Radcliffe, like, because they like played those roles, like it gave them like fuck you money.
Yeah, they have clout. They can do whatever
Yeah.
they want.
So basically, they don't have to like act in like anything that comes their way. They pick what they want. So
See? Yeah. That could have been Michael Keaton if if they had been able to make more Batman movies with Tim Burton and Michael Keaton and they hadn't disbanded it and gone with Joel Schumacher. I feel like he would have been that too,
yeah.
because they would have made a third one, except that apparently they just like kept trying to convince Tim Burton to walk away. And eventually he was like, okay, if you really want me to walk away, I'll walk away. And he walked away.
Well, it's because Returns was just so like violent and out there.
Yeah, but-
the Happy Meal controversy happened.
That's what really happened. People actually liked
Yeah.
Batman Returns, not as much as the first one, but McDonald's is what hated it, and they were a huge producer. They had a lot of money in the movie because they were like making the Happy Meal toys, and they hated it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. But 89 is so good.
And then, that makes sense why every movie after Returns was like so toy focused.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
like just like a commercial.
yeah. And Joel Schumacher even like uses that as an excuse. Like he calls those movies toyetic, and he talks about how they literally were just giant toy commercials. And if you look at it through that guise, they're more fun, but there's still a lot of questionable like dialogue and situations and just like costuming choices and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, they're giant toy commercials, but what kind of, do you want your boys playing with Batman or Robin with nipples? I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, like, is that what you expected? Did you expect him to give them nipples, or did you expect him to just make a Batman movie and like kind of try to keep it in the same vein as Tim Burton's, but a little happier?
Just why did like what it that
Yes.
why would you why did you put nipples on it?
I don't
Like
know.
what was the
And that's-
justification?
Dude,
Where
that's
did
not
the
even
idea
the
come
worst
from?
part. Like, I also rewatched all the movies recently, and I really enjoyed watching Batman and Batman Returns because there's a lot of cool, like, really iconic moments from comic books that they sort of recreate. Not like actual like events from the comics, but like like splash pages,
Vibes.
like poster images and stuff. Like they do a good job of making it look like Batman comics look. But does it feel like Batman comics feel? Yeah, kind of, and sort of, a little bit, maybe not. But it does have a really good vibe over the entire movie, right? Whereas like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, they kind of look more like how Batman comics feel to me. Like at least the older ones, because they're very colorful,
Mhm.
Everything's very cartoony and comic booky, and the villains are way over the top. And I do like those elements of it. But then you have like the worst dialogue ever between Bruce Wayne and his love interests. Like really bad, like soap opera crap, like chicks dig the car, or like the scene with Poison Ivy where they like pull out the Bat Visa cards and they're like, dude, that stuff makes no sense and has
His
no
name is registered to that.
Batman, duh.
It's a big 180 coming off, especially Batman Returns.
Yeah,
Like that movie is just like this. It's practically an erotic thriller.
I know.
Yeah. And
There's eroticism in Batman Forever too, but it's bookmarked between a bunch of like really weird shit.
I mean, and then also Robin. Like, so
Yeah. Some would say Robin is quite erotic in that movie. I know that I've recently read that
was-
Chris O'Donnell as Robin was like a huge gay idol, even though he's not gay.
you don't have to be gay to be a gay idol.
I know. I'm just saying. It's not like he was out there like
No.
spreading the word. It's just that people were like, "Damn, Robin, all right."
Batman Forever was Riddler and Two-Face. Who was the love interest in that?
And Forever?
Bale.
Yeah.
No,
it
it
was
was in '89.
Chase Meridian.
Was it Nicole Kidman?
Mm-hmm.
Was she was Was there just no love interest in Batman and Robin?
No,
because they
there
all
was.
had
It
like
was
a thing for
It
Poison
was
Ivy.
Julie Madison, his original girlfriend from the comic books.
They brought Julie in that?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And she's super cheesy. She can't act for shit, but she's in the movie, so that's cool. Kind of, I guess. There's a little Easter egg there.
Hey, is it better or worse that he had a different love interest in every movie?
Well, they kind of do it like a Bond girl, kind of.
Soft reboot every time.
I mean, you do see how it is in the Nolan films when he has one love interest and
Yeah.
he obsesses over her. And so,
It's fine. I mean, like, I feel like
I mean,
Batman.
Batman, his thing is obsessing over everything. So,
Yeah.
like, it's fine. But I don't know.
It would be better if they didn't even mention Vicky Vale, but they have to go ahead and mention her.
Was
in
Vicky
Batman Forever.
Vale like ever his love interest? She was a love
Yeah,
interest.
she was
in
love interest in the comics in
Yeah.
the 70s, yeah, and the 80s.
Okay,
as
yeah.
well.
I think by the time I'd seen her in the 90s,
She was the
they were
current
done.
love interest in the comics when they made that movie, which is why
Okay.
she's in the movie.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, the weird part is when you have Alfred be like, blah 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 blah, the last girl in your life, and then you have George Clooney be like, why'd you have to let Vicky Vale into the Batcave? Like, then it's actually acknowledging that he has had all these girlfriends, different one in every movie, instead of just it being a soft reboot and ignoring that fact altogether.
Yeah.
What do you like better, Batman Forever or Batman and Robin? It's a hard question. Batman Forever, I'll tell you right now, I like Batman Forever more purely for the ridiculous over-the-top camp shit that makes no sense at all. Batman Forever actually seems like it could be a good movie if they changed a couple things, but those things are so cringy that I just cannot accept them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the general story of Batman Forever, and Riddler's whole scheme and all that, and that being like somewhat plausible. And I like that Two-Face was in it, even though he was terrible.
Yeah.
And then he had like his two hot girlfriends. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about the story of Batman and Robin. Like Bane was there and Poison Ivy was there, and she was always trying to kiss everybody and make them fight each other. And Mr. Freeze was also there. I don't remember that movie at all.
It's like it took the Heart of Ice storyline from the animated series and tried to adapt it and then shoehorn in two more villains, and it kind of just like ruined it.
Like, I don't understand why because they've done that with some animated stuff too. It's just like you don't need that many storylines.
No, just focus
Like,
on the good one.
This one story was good. People liked it. Adapt it. Like, you don't need to adapt it into 3 other stories.
I know.
And, hey, you know what? You didn't like Bane in Dark Knight Rises. That's fine, but at least there was like thought to
Yeah.
the story and that. I don't think there was any thought put into him and
No.
Batman and Robin.
He's just a lackey.
Yeah.
Was he an experiment of Poison Ivy? He was a prisoner.
In the movie, yeah.
Yeah, he was a prisoner that was used in used in an experiment by the douchey scientist who tried to kill Poison Ivy, thus making her Poison Ivy.
Which, by the way, guys, the douchey scientist in that movie who tries to kill Poison Ivy and creates Bane is the voice of the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series.
It's pretty cool.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Was he actually anybody in that movie? Like
No.
he just gets killed, so whatever. But like they
He's-
could have made him Hugo Strange or something.
They could have, but he's just Mad Scientist X.
Perfect.
You know?
Mm,
Yeah.
That makes sense. They already had too many characters.
Yeah.
no. All right, you want to move on to the Snyder films?
We can, but I was going to say something real quick.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bane looks great. I think everything looks great in Batman and Robin, except for probably Batman and Robin themselves. But the problem is like Bane looks pretty awesome, pretty close to how he should look, but acts absolutely nothing like that. And then in Dark Knight Rises, you have Bane acting kind of like he should, mostly like he should, but looking absolutely nothing like he should.
Yeah.
So it's like, just pick one, like take the good look and take the good story and put them together. Like, why does everything have to be split like that?
Yeah, I guess props for that because they found a way to put a convict in a luchador mask and have it still kind of like, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it works. Otherwise people wouldn't love the character so much.
But I understand wanting to have a very grounded, real Bane because you can't have this absolute Hulk of a man that's growing and shrinking and have it look good at the time.
Well, the thing is in the comics, he doesn't really grow and shrink. He's just always big. And then the Venom just makes him stronger. It doesn't actually make him physically grow larger.
Right. But like if they wanted to like show that as the transformation in Batman and Robin, so they
Yeah.
have to start with a real person, that would have looked
Oh, yeah.
I will give credit to the Dark Knight Rises in like the way they handled Bane. I liked him having that like basically an inhaler built onto his face filled with PCP. And like